Okay, now we continue with our session on new integrated and sustainable approach, new management plans and concrete experience from pilot actions in Italy, Albania, Slovenia, Greece, and Croatia. I would like to invite now our colleagues, first of all from Greece, Vasileiou, I hope that I pronounced it well, Kristijan from the Ephorate of Antiquities of Ioannina, archaeological site of Dodona, Greece. Kristijan Lončarić from the Municipality of Omisalj, archaeological park of MirineFulfinum, Croatia. And Petra Furčić will join us online. I hope that she is there from Urbanex. And I'm not certain if Sandra Dubravica is here. Okay, sorry. Sandra Dubravica is present from the Public Institution Development Agency of Šibenik-Knin County, Archaeological Park of Bribirska, Glavica, and Velika, Mrdakovica, Croatia. So we have 45 minutes. I ask you please to respect the time and please enjoy.
Good morning. I would like to thank the Institute of Philosophy of Belgrade for their hospitality and for the organization. We will start with a small description of the archaeological site of Dodona. The archaeological site of Dodona lies in the northwest Greece, south of Ioannina. It is situated in the midst of a lovely, peaceful green valley, overlooked by the twin peaks of Mount Tomaros. It is acclaimed by the ancient writers as the oldest oracle in ancient Greece, with researchers placing its origins as far back as the Bronze Age. The first signs of building activity date to the end of the 5th, early 4th century BC, when the first small temple of Zeus, E1 in the plan, and 3 Ionic stoas were erected. In the immediate vicinity of the sacred house, other religious buildings were also developed. According to the prevailing opinion, the earlier temple was dedicated to Yiouni. When the sanctuary was reconstructed after 219 BC, a new temple-like structure sacred to Yiouni was erected to the south, visibly diverging from the temple of Zeus. Among the 3 buildings that surrounded the sacred oak of Zeus was the so-called Temple of Themis, goddess of justice. A temple dedicated to Hercules was also built at the southernmost end of the sanctuary, roughly 30 meters westwards from the gate of the enclosure. The so-called Temple of Aphrodite, centrally positioned within the Dodona sanctuary, is situated near the Temple of Themis. The remaining buildings in the sanctuary's west sector, as you can see left in the screen, reflect the program of monumental reconstruction orchestrated by King Pyrrhus in the early 3rd century BC. These are the theater, the Boulefterion, where the representatives of the Emperor's comfort, the Prytaneum, and the stadium. The archaeological site of Dodona is the most popular archaeological site of Epirus. It is open all year long. More than 40,000 visitors come to Dodona every year. Most of the visitors are on organized tours. Groups mainly arrive by coaches from Egnatia and Ionia highways. There is a large parking lot right in front of the entrance of the archaeological site. Restrooms are available near the ticket office at the entrance. There are information panels in situ and a free brochure. Opposite to the ticket office, there is also a gift shop of the Hellenic Organization of Cultural Resources Development, where the visitor can buy guides, cards, etc. Regarding the movement of people inside the archaeological site, there is a safe pathway throughout most of the site, leading to the main monuments designed in such a way that even people with mobility difficulties can move on it. Dodona was mentioned by several travelers from the 19th century. The first excavations took place at the end of the 19th century. From the decade of 1930 until the beginning of the 20th century, excavations were conducted on the site on behalf of the Greek Archaeological Society. Since the early 90s, excavation and restoration works have been conducted by the effort of Antiquities of Ioannina. Nowadays, the focus of research is placed on the conservation of the ancient theatre. In 2022, the restoration of the lower part of the Kilon has been completed. Furthermore, excavations took place in the area of the Basilica and the interior of the Boulevterion. The current management plan creates a sustainable fruition system between the archaeological site of Dodona and the societies of the surrounding settlements economically and socially. As far as the archaeological site is concerned, it's used in multiple ways as a cultural event site, a conference hosting infrastructure, as well as an integrated experience site through augmented reality systems, seeks to transform it to a tourist and cultural pole much more than it is today. This will bring along the development of the wider area, while its further connection with local businesses through the dissemination to the public of information, either with printed and informative signs or with electronic sources, will encourage visitors to visit local businesses for food, accommodation, etc. The aim of the project was to make the archaeological site of Dodona a global cultural center, open and accessible to all people of all ages and all ethnicities, a place where the achievements, wisdom, and lessons of the past will help modern well-being. The owner of the archaeological site of Dodona is the Greek state. The law 4858/2021 is the fundamental law for protecting antiquities and cultural heritage. Dodona was designated as an archaeological site by an official act of 1927, followed by a series of acts. It is listed in the ongoing catalogue of the listed archaeological sites and monuments of Greece, compiled and published since 1993 by the Directorate of the National Archive of Monuments of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture and Tourism. In 1992, a totally protected non-construction zone, namely Zone A, was applied in the perimeter of the archaeological site. This had as a result the imposition of regulations regarding allowed uses and activities within the aforementioned boundaries. Building activities are allowed only on legally pre-existing buildings and constructions, mostly for maintenance purposes, as long as they do not exceed either size or height of the aforementioned building. Needless to say, that simple designation and delimitation of such zones is never enough if not followed by the implementation of spatial restrictions. Therefore, collaboration among spatial planners and archaeologists and among competent bodies is not only necessary, but also indispensable if monumental heritage is to be appropriately and adequately protected. In designing the strategy for the management of the archaeological site of Dodona, focus has been given to the enhancement of the natural and cultural environment. Of major significance were the following actions: improvement of public transportation to the site, enhancement of the villages around the archaeological site, promotion of volunteer work donations, synergies with local enterprises and the local municipality. The Ephorate plan, in order to achieve the aforementioned goals, was to collect stories related to site, inspiring kids and youth to explore the surroundings. Disseminate heritage toolkit for the schools, promoting knowledge and kids' activity related to the site. Elaborate educational programs for local guides. Plan itineraries and visits with animation, interactive games, and virtual reality. Organize heritage festivals and participate in scientific conferences and temporary exhibitions in collaboration with other museums, both in Greece and abroad, that will definitely help in promoting the history and archaeology of Dodona. In addition, the plan of the effort of Antiquities of Ioannina for the enhancement and promotion includes the following: a digitalization of the efforts archive, aerial photographs of the archaeological site using the drone, with the Ephorate bought through the project, 3D replicas of findings used for educational purposes on site. Nowadays, ICT tools offer numerous possibilities of enhancement and personalization of the experience of the visit. In Dodona, there is a Wi-Fi coverage, and the site itself provides the visitors with 5 tablets. Moreover, a Facebook page allows the site to share its news with a global and wider audience. During the last years, a number of research projects has been developed dealing with the third representation of the site, a digital application for children of 10 to 12 years old, a video with the succeeded phases of the sacred house, and one with a representation of the oracular procedure. Within the framework of transfer project, a 3D representation of the site has been elaborated based on available 3D models from a past digitation, which will offer new experience to Dodona's visitors. These 3D models have been processed, and with the addition of several new details based on the updated archaeological research of the site, the final 3D model of the site represents a connect snapshot projected in the 3rd century BC. The augmented reality application is being compiled for use on Android and iOS mobile device. The expected results of the management plan for the archaeological site of Dodona are the improvement of the already existing specialized and branded tourist destination, the organization of structured experiential exploration of the archaeological site, the increase in visitors to the archaeological site, the creation of a social contract between the effort of Antiquities and local businesses to enhance the competitiveness of the participating companies while improving the natural and cultural environment around the archaeological site. Finally, the connection of the archaeological site, and most important, with the local community of the Municipality of Dodona, but also the social and business environment of the Prefecture of Ioannina. Needless to say that publicly accessible archaeological sites can generate economic benefits in sustainable and unsustainable ways. We want Dodona to be accessed and valued by as many people as possible. May the transfer project be the beginning for it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, my name is Kristijan. I'm coming from Municipality of Omisalj from Croatia, and I'm going to show you the results of our work on the project with our archaeological park, MirineFulfinum. Thank you. So our park is located on the island of Krk, on the northern coast of Croatia, in the municipality of Omisalj, next to the town of Omisalj. So the site is divided into multiple sectors. One of the most important ones is the core of the ancient city of Fulfinum, which consists of temple with peribola, basilica with curia, tavern, and an entrance to the city square. Rest of the sectors are the port area, castrum, domus, the tower, and Mirine. Mirine is important because it's one of the oldest and at the same time one of the best preserved early Christian churches in the region of Kvarner in Croatia. Oops. So the other 3 sectors are the necropolis, the suburban villa, and the late antique building that was used as a construction complex, indicating the intensive use of the nearby Stepan port. So few more things that you need to know about the locale. As I said, it's divided into 8 distinct localities that are marked as sectors. It has a significant natural heritage and it's full of protected species. So the system of use is basically free. You can come there whenever you want and explore on your own. As far as the historical cultural context goes, the island of Krk had two cities or municipalities. On the south part of the island there was Kurikum, and on the north part of the island was Fulfinum. Several ancient and late antique sites have been established within the territory. As far as the economic context goes, the annual visitors that's estimated is around 14,000 people per year. So as I said, site is accessible for everyone and sightseeing is free. There is also professional guidance that is charged. Our tourist board and municipality organize some events on the locale during the summer. Those are antiquity games, as you can see on the pictures, classical concerts, and there's organized visits for schools, kindergarten groups, journalists, and study groups. So our vision for this locale is to develop the archaeological park MirineFulfinum to a recognizable heritage attraction with a variety of content. And we are trying to do this by defining the strategic goals, measures, and activities, which we have stated in the project of the overall development of the municipality, and which are aimed at development of the tourism, for example, the valorization and protection of cultural and national heritage. So here we have a mosaic of our urban territorial planning. So there is a list of infrastructural and horticultural improvements on the site actions, which you can read over there. As far as the legislative and protection part, the site is protected by the law of the protection and preservation of cultural heritage and the rule book of archaeological research. And it's protected by our Ministry of Culture and Media through the Directorate for Protection of Cultural Heritage. We have devised 4 crucial strategies for our locale. First is to carry out significant infrastructural and horticultural improvements on the site. The second one is to enrich the cultural, tourist, and scientific educational offer. Third one is to establish a mechanism for sustainable locality management. And last one is to develop the visibility and continuous promotion of the locale as a unique destination on our island. So within the project, we have made a management plan. And the plan is detailed describing management and implementation of the main infrastructure and the proposal of interpretation and visitor center of the park and the ruins. The management plan was drafted according to the project guidelines, and it has been finalized with one of our external associates, Ephorate, Croatia. It also contains an action plan regarding the setup of sustainable economic activities and adoption of ICT solution to provide us with a project partner with the quality implementation ideas. Oops. As far as the implemented measure goes, of course, during the pilot action, we have done emergency rehabilitation and development of the locality, horticultural arrangements, archaeological research and preparation of documentation, conservation and partial reconstruction of the remains, infrastructure arrangement on the site, implementation of program content for the archaeological park. We have defined management structure of the locality. We have educated our employees and stakeholders, and we're trying to establish a network of local partners. We have also increased visibility of the location through various kinds of promotion, heritage education, marketing, communication plans, etc. Also within the project, we have procured some equipment via public procurement. Delivery was finished in July of 2022. The equipment purchased was standalone solar power system, and it powers the various equipment, including analytical system for monitoring visitors and our security cameras or surveillance systems. We have also procured the VR kits and tablets with AR support. The beneficiaries of the aforementioned equipment are visitors, and as well as the other stakeholders that are involved in anything regarding to the locale. The aforementioned ICT solution that we got with the equipment also includes a VR and AR application. The application on the initial screen displays menu with 4 languages, and it also includes a certain number of thematic units that are showing the locale. The app has been specifically created for the needs of the project and has the primary purpose of serving as a guide through the entire site. So here are some pictures. This will be the standalone solar panel, and it's powering the camera that is tracking the visitors. This is the surveillance system, and on the right you can see the VR headset and one of the tablets we've got with the application that we have made for this. So one of the last things we did during the project is the implementation of digital training modules and training activities. Those were done with our tourist boards, which are going to handle the equipment that we got. And same goes for the economical activities because they're in charge of organizing the most activities related to the park. Also, we have devised some thematic information materials, and here's some picture. So those are recyclable bags and the brochures with the data about the locale and the transfer projects. And we have also opened up a Facebook page and Instagram page that informs people about the project and the locale itself. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, the online floor is yours.
Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. First, I want to apologize because of some technical issues. I'm not able to use the camera, so we'll have to manage like this. Thank you for the introduction, as well as all the other lecturers who have presented their management plans. I'm a consultant at Urbanex, and I will present the management plan developed for archaeological parks Velika, Mrdakovica, and Bribirska, Glavica. After this presentation, my colleague Sandra Dubravica will present implemented activities within pilot actions that we have conducted. I will just give a brief description of both sites to illustrate our situation. Archaeological Park Velika, Mrdakovica and Bribirska, Glavica are both located in Šibenik-Knin county and are of high historical, archaeological and landscape value to the entire region. Velika Mrdakovica administratively belongs to the municipality of Vodice, whereas Bribirska, Glavica is situated in the municipality of Skradin. Thus, both of the sites are located in the well-developed tourist areas. Velika Mrdakovica was inhabited from about 7th century BC to the 2nd century AD, and the first inhabitants were the Illyrian tribe Liburni, followed by the Romans, who founded the settlement of Aurasona. Considering that the archaeological research and conservation have been constantly carried out in the last few years, all the archaeological remains on the site are well preserved. Also, the site is always open and available to visitors without an admission fee. Regarding Bribirska Glavica. On the other side, it began its rich life in the first millennium BC as a Liburnian settlement called Varvaria. Afterwards, it was inhabited by Romans, then by Croats, and the most significant historical importance of this locality lies in the fact that Bribir, the Croatian settlement, was the seat of a powerful Šubić family. Considering that the location, like Velika Mrdakovica, was constantly researched in recent history, the park is marked with info boards that are showing all the important monuments. Also, the site is free of charge and available for visitors. Since the synthetic interpretation was a part of various activities within the work groups, I will shortly present the most important conclusions relevant to the management plan we have developed. Considering the legal framework in the Republic of Croatia, the management, protection, and valorization of archaeological sites is regulated by the law on the protection and preservation of cultural heritage. In addition to this law, as a basic act, the Ordinance on Archaeological Research prescribes all the conditions for conducting archaeological research in the Republic of Croatia. Some of the key stakeholders in management systems of both archaeological parks are local and regional government, conservation department in Šibenik, Šibenik City Museum, and tourist boards. In the case of Bribirska Glavica, it is very important to mention the Museum of Croatian Archaeological Monuments in Split, also as a key stakeholder. Considering the economical, sustainable activities and projects, they are directed towards creating bonds between archaeological heritage, agriculture, farming, and rural activities. It was thus proposed to encourage cooperation with local farmers to encompass the local tourist offer and combine archaeological, gastronomical, and cultural values of the wider area. It is all possible thanks to the position of the sites. Like I said before, they are both close to the larger tourist destinations, and they are surrounded by various natural and cultural attractions. It was also very important to analyze the current situation. So in the both sites, we have information boards and signposts in Croatian, English, and in Braille. Both locations are occasionally visited by school children and children with special needs. Also in Velika Mrdakovica, there is a solar post with lightning and a panoramic coin-operated telescope. Important event is Vodica Bacchanalia, which is shown here on the picture. But as an overall conclusion, we can say that at both sites, there is no elaborated visitor infrastructure, as you can see here. Regarding the elaboration of the project, the primary mission of archaeological parks is to continuously develop research, preservation, and presentation of archaeological heritage. It was envisioned to overcome the idea of seeing archaeological parks slowly as an open-air museum and strictly protected, isolated areas. And in doing so, the important and useful tools are, of course, the ICT tools. Regarding the plan itself and the methodology we have used, the interdisciplinary, participative, and comprehensive approach has been used, and of course, it was referenced with the prior documents. Also, it is very important to mention that there is a one strategic framework and 2 action plans for the localities, because they differ in actors that are responsible for managing and implementing the actions. General strategic goals for the management plans are continuous research, protection, and preservation, establishing education, interpretive and visitor center, and socio-economic integration to be aligned with the vision and mission I have presented. Implementation of the first strategic goal will have various significant results, such as increased data about the site, improved and broadened knowledge about the archaeological site, development of digital database, engaged community, and enhanced protection, preservation, and monitoring. Also, the capacity building will result in increased research and in generating new jobs opening. Strategic goal number 2 is directed towards valorization of archaeological heritage, which will manifest in increased number of restored remains, utilized heritage objects, and further development of the visitor infrastructure. Presentation and dissemination of knowledge implies visitor centers, enhanced accessibility to the site, which is very important, and strengthened presentation of the park and the complete tourist offer. Moreover, activities within this strategic goal will lead to increased security, reduced risks, preserved and protected landscape, sustainability, better financial capacity, and marketing communication. And altogether will have a positive impact on increasing the number of visitors. The third goal is related to involving local community, raising awareness, and strengthening cultural identity of the site. Besides that, the need to integrate parks into contemporary tourist flows is also recognized in order to increase the site's visibility. And last but not least, creating a bond through ICT tools in order to achieve better governance over the park, to increase virtual accessibility towards all social groups, and to introduce the new and innovative ways to present archaeological parks. To ensure the quality implementation of the park, the monitoring strategy was also defined. The basis for the process are all the parameters that were defined within separate action plans for each site, and of course the semi-annual reporting throughout the program evaluation review technique. Also, I would like to highlight at the end that all the results of transfer project are therefore achieved. I would like to thank you all for your attention, and as I mentioned before, the pilot actions regarding ICT tools will be presented by our colleague Sandra.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, again, hello from my name is Sandra Dubravica. I'm from Development Agency of Šibenik-Knin County in Croatia. I will present pilot actions from our 2 sites. So our project scope was 2 archaeological sites, Velika, Mrdakovica, and Bribirska, Glavica. So what was the project requirements? We wanted to develop ICT solutions to generate new ways of cultural experience. We also want to increase and broaden public access to participation. What was the ICT solutions that we used to? For this project, 2 immersive technologies were identified to be suitable to meet the project requirements. That was the augmented reality and virtual reality. So the AR and VR also has their pros and cons. AR pros are great for immersive on-site experience. The second one is ability to show computer generated layers on top of the real world. It also ability to recreate historical buildings, items, and people on places they don't exist anymore. and also enable visitors to take pictures of themselves, which combined real world and 3D imagery. What was Cont? And usually requires mobile applications installations and also experience due to platform support, development and online publishing on both application stores, and also significant download size. So about virtual realities, Bronze was high immersive. It is also interactive experience and very inviting to general public. And Cont requires VR headsets, doesn't broaden public access due to fixed indoor installations, and experience hardware and development. And what methodology and approach we used? We utilize both VR and AR to minimize downside of both technologies and empower their strength. We identify alternative applications delivery approach for both technologies in order to minimize costs and maximize outputs. We also try to reuse as many resources as possible for both applications to additionally reduce overall costs. So our project outputs is 3D modeling of items, people, and buildings from various periods of history. We also have AR applications that display 3D models on both archaeological sites. We have 4 AR experience on Velika Mrdakovica and 4 AR experience on Bribirska Glavica. And we also have 3 VR applications that serves as a preview and invites people to visit the site. 3 are VR installations. One is Šibenik City Museum, and 2 is on heuristic boards of both towns where these archaeological sites is. So according to 3D productions, main content for both VR and AR are items, peoples, and buildings for various periods of history. And this content is produced under supervision from Šibenik City Museum. We had 4 phases of these 3D productions. And at the end, we use that 3D models and optimize for both VR and AR experience. So technology approach for VR is that we develop AR applications that can be viewed in browser, which eliminates the need to install anything on mobile phones. This also eliminates the needs for any device procurement because it utilizes visitors' devices, which reduce overall costs. The second one, we optimize download site, and because as there is no Wi-Fi on these archaeological sites, and limit the on-site physical installation to small poles with QR codes, and scanning these QR codes with mobile phones, we can automatically launch an AR experience. We also create 3D models only once, and we use it for AR and VR experience. We also use standalone VR headsets instead of robust VR rig like HTC Vive. This significantly reduce equipment procurement and development costs. It also enables VR installation on multiple locations because multiple headsets can be provided. Also, we captured and produced 360 images on both archaeological sites. Also, we reuse 3D models created for AR and perform virtual staging on Capture 3D, on Capture 360 photos. Also, we produce 360 videos with all mentions content and add voice over. And we build a VR interactive application which invites people to visit the archaeological sites. So this is how it looks like ER. When visitor came to archaeological site and see the QR codes, and after that, when he scanned the QR codes with mobile phones, and then the start VR experience. This is also an example of ER. And also we have a VR application. It looks something like that. And that's it from me. Thank you for your listening.